Welcome. We are working on Standard 6 NSB 3. We are going to be working on adding, subtracting, and multiplying decimals. And we learned how to divide the last section, but we'll do a couple examples of those as well. So we have our foldable for decimals. Adding and subtracting decimals. Our rules, we have to line up the decimal point. We will use a 0 as a placeholder so each digit in the number lines up, and then we will add or subtract starting on the right. So let's try it. So we have 7 plus 5.314. Now, there's no decimal in 7, but we all know the decimal goes to the right in a whole number. And then we have to add our zeros so they line up. So I start on the right, 4 plus 0, 4, 1 plus 0, 1, 0 plus 3, 3, and then 5 plus 7 is 12. Subtracting is very similar. I'm going to take 15.6, and then I need to line up my decimals, 6.39. I will need to add a 0. Now I'm going to need to substitute. So 10 minus 9 is 1. 5 minus 3 is 2. I cannot subtract 6 from 5, so I'll need to make this 15. Take 1 away from the next place to the left, which makes it 0. So 15 minus 6 is 9. So 9.21. Multiplying. So line up the last digit of each number. So we don't have to line up the decimals here. The top number, 3.24, has 2 decimal places. 8.5 has 1 decimal place. I'm going to multiply like I normally do. And then in my answer, I will need 3 decimal places because 2 plus 1, so I have 2 decimal places up here and 1 right here. So all the numbers behind the decimal add up to 3, which means my decimal needs to go 3 spots over. $1.25 times 23. So here I have 2 decimal places, and in this one I have 0. So in my answer I'm going to have 2 decimal places. So 3 times 5 is 15. Carry the 1. 2 times 3 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. 3 times 1 is 3. Now I need to add my 0 because I move over to the 2. 2 times 5 is 10. Bring the 0 down. Put the 1 on top. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. And then 2 times 1 is 2. I'm going to add them. 5, 7, 8, 2, and then I've already determined, because I have 1, 2 decimal places, that I need 2 decimal places in my answer. You try it. Dividing decimals. So we went over this in the previous lesson, but we're going to stop and look at it again. We're going to move the dividends decimal the same number of places as the divisor. So for 3.6, I'm going to move it to the right one, which means I need to make the 4.32. I moved it to the right one as well. And then I divide with the standard algorithm. So 12 divided by 1.6. I'm going to need to move my decimal place one place to the right, which means I will need to add a 0 and move it here as well. So I say, well, does 16 go into 12? Nope, it doesn't go into 12. So then I have to say, well, does 16 go into 120? And we can estimate that and try 7, because I know 15 times 7 is 105. Okay. So 7 times 6, then I multiply. 7 times 6 is 42. Carry the 4. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 4 is 11. I subtract. 10 minus 2 is 8. 1 minus 1 is 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. So now I need to add decimal places. So I will need to add a 0 and bring it down. 16 goes into 80. I believe 5 times 6 is 30. Carry the 3. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 80. I subtract, and I have 0. So that means I'm done. Important points: make sure to move your decimal place straight up. And remember, if you're left with a remainder, you will need to add zeros and bring it down. Your turn. You try.